Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion, and the fit for this video is Daredevil. And let's see if needgod.net has debunked another biblical contradiction.
Number 3. Who was the father of Joseph? Both Matthew and Luke helpfully record a genealogy of Jesus. It shows that Jesus is not a made-up person. You can trace his genealogy back to Abraham and even back to Adam.
Well, they show that genealogies can be asserted, but the data don't support the historicity of either of these genealogies, which, by the way, differ wildly from each other, even though they overlap in the middle with Zerubbabel and his father Shealtiel. They then diverge again immediately. But these are coming decades after Jesus' death. They're coming after the destruction of the temple, which is where any official genealogies would have been kept. So they would have to be coming from private genealogies, but the data don't support the notion that either the author of Matthew or Luke had access to any such intimate family documents, given they're relying on the Gospel of Mark, which is not an eyewitness account, other oral traditions, other sayings, Gospels. The notion that they somehow had access to Jesus's actual genealogies is simply not plausible. So once again, they show a genealogy can be asserted, but nothing supports the historicity of either one of them.
But in Matthew's account, it says, quote, Jacob was the father of Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom Jesus was born. But in Luke, it says, Jesus, when he began his ministry, was about 30 years of age, being the son, as was supposed, of Joseph, the son of Heli. But this too is very easily explained.
All right, let's see it.
Matthew's genealogy was of Joseph's side, while Luke's is of Mary's. That's why it doesn't list the same grandfather on both sides, because Mary and Joseph didn't have the same parent.
So this is pure speculation. It's not indicated by or supported by any data whatsoever. It is just driven by the need to overcome the clear contradictions between these two genealogies. And the speculation goes all the way back to the late 2nd century CE with Tertullian. But it's not even the most popular speculation, historically speaking. In the generation after Tertullian, Julius Africanus would speculate that the genealogies are different because one is concerned with natural parentage and the other is concerned with legal parentage. And this has to do with levirate marriage. In the ancient world, if a man married a woman and the man died before he was able to have any children, then that man's brother had the duty to take the widow as another wife, and any children that that couple had would legally belong to the deceased brother, even though naturally they would be in the line of the living brother. And so Julius Africanus said, hey, what if they're different because one is concerned with natural parentage and the other is concerned for legal parentage? And so that speculation has been more popular historically than the other. Neither, however, accounts for the fact that, for instance, the line in Luke has twice as many men between Joseph and Zerubbabel as the line in Matthew. Neither of these speculations accounts for why Matthew very clearly omits Jehoiakim, who is the son of Josiah and the father of Jeconiah. Matthew just goes straight from Josiah to Jeconiah, clearly to preserve the division into 3 lines of exactly 14 people. So literary concerns are driving the way that these genealogies are being crafted. The notion that one is the line of Mary and the other is the line of Joseph, or that one is following natural descent and the other is following legal descent, are pure speculation, are not plausible, but they are possible. And so that's what we're retreating to, as we so frequently have to, in trying to preserve the inerrancy and the univocality of the Bible, is saying it's not most likely, it's not probable, it's not even plausible, but hey, you can't prove it's impossible.
Now, the reason why Mary's name isn't explicitly mentioned in Luke's genealogy is because Luke was following the Hebraic traditional form of genealogies by listing only the male names, in which Mary is represented by her husband's name.
There is no such tradition. This is just made up.
So again, no contradiction.
So these genealogies very clearly differ because they are literary creations and their authors had different sources on which they were relying, and they were crafting these genealogies with different rhetorical goals in mind. Is it plausible that these two genealogies can be harmonized? No. Is it physically possible that there's a way to harmonize the two genealogies? Sure. So this is not a contradiction as long as one has retreated to the safety of getting over this bar that is buried underground of it's only a contradiction if the two propositions have absolutely no possible way of being reconciled. But that would demonstrate again that we're not trying to find out what happened. We're not trying to find out what probably happened or even plausibly happened. We're just trying to gin up the tiniest little sliver of not impossible so the folks in the audience who already agree can feel comfortable that at least their dogma is not impossible.